morning. I'm Tim. Welcome to my channel. Welcome to my stream. Just average dad trying to stay in shape and having fun. So today is going to be it's going to be back rows, but we're going to start off with working on the pull-ups a little bit more, trying to increase how many I can do. Wearing the 20-pound vest. I'm not going to be wearing the 20-pound vest throughout the whole exercise, just starting out. For the pull-ups, warm up the shoulders a little bit. I always forget to warm up for the pull-ups. Probably would make it easier if I was a little warm before doing it. I don't know. Maybe. I feel like super tight today. I've definitely enjoyed getting back into doing the 5 workouts a day. Sorry, not 5 workouts a day, 5 workouts a week. I can definitely feel like recovery is harder. Should probably stretch before I put a vest on. Alright, see if that does anything to make this better. Here we go. Let's see. So close to 3. We'll get there. It will happen. Keep trying. I say this is the most frustrating workout. It's like the hardest one to make progress in lately, it feels like. But I will. I'm committed to this struggle. I'm not gonna just give up. I can make this happen. What I'm really banking on is it just one day getting a lot easier. and then just having some big like jumps forward. That was one. Just can't give up. So I refuse to quit. I know that it will turn around. It is doable. At the very least, it keeps me. At the very least, it keeps me humble. It's hard to be too egotistical with this out on display. I was reading the news this morning before coming out here, and I try not to make this anything political. I do think we have to figure out ways to make sure that our lives aren't completely derailed by one thing in the world. How to create a security and enjoyment in our lives that's not dependent on the rest of the world or state. Should be able to be happy and complete. I'm watching just people panic and lose their minds. It's unfortunate, and it's just unfortunate that their lives are just in that way affected by external factors. All right, we're gonna switch over to back roads. It's interesting to me to watch people that have had extremely good lives, considerably better than the average person in the world, like complain when things are just suddenly not going their way, and how they'll like and express a willingness to do horrible things to get back to that status quo, to their status quo, and most of us just don't enjoy. It's interesting. There was an old joke. I want to say it was Chris Rock's. I can't remember off the top of my head. Talking about Oprah being rich, and that for as rich as she is, if Bill Gates woke up suddenly with Oprah's money, that he would kill himself. And he's so much more richer than Oprah and has so much more that being Oprah level would be devastating to them. And it sounds silly, but watching people losing their minds over the stock market, like, I think that's probably true. You know, they're so rich, so wealthy, so well off that the idea of only having enough money to live like I do is like breaking to them. That's fascinating. It's fascinating to watch like these guys losing like their ability to have a third mega yacht. That's like, and they want us never owned a yacht to feel their pain and to rally for them. And it's there's like always a constant idea. Like I forget who said it a long time ago, but they talk like this has been out for centuries. That you can get the poor to kill the other half of the poor, and I feel like that's still very true. No matter how educated we get, we still let the very wealthy dictate how we live our lives, or who we fight, and how we treat one another. Let them give us the terms on who's good and who's bad. It's very fascinating. And it's just interesting how terrified the wealthy are of just average American lives. We're not even talking about like average lives in the world. Like if you're living the average American life, you're so far above, lots of places on earth, lots of other countries. But even that is like just not enough for them. They're just absolutely scared. So I think having a good perspective on life is key. A good strong foundation that allows you to be happy. I think as long as my kids are fed and safe, and I'm allowed to raise them with the values that I deem most important, I'll be pretty happy in most situations. I think there's also a side where the guys losing their minds over their wealth dipping a little bit. It's just a sign of how much their wealth is an illusion. That they weren't really these like great people. They weren't really established. They were just tied to this illusion of greatness. I was looking at my wife and I were looking for a new house, and there was a gated community that had a house in it that was a really good deal. Like for its size and amenities, it was a good deal. But then you have to pay $300 a month for the HOA and the it being in a gated community. And what you get for that is you get access to a swimming pool, which is nice. Then you get access to this giant, like it's not giant, but like a medium-sized lake that you can go enjoy. And then of course you have the security of living in a gated community. But it's funny to me is that all seems good until you like know a couple things about gated communities. Is that the they're not filtering out necessarily bad people. They're only so you can beat your neighbor can still be a bad person. It's just a bad person that can afford to live in there. And they can be just as dangerous and a threat to your family. And now you're fenced in with them. And then two, like the lake thing is man-made. So if things ever got really bad and they couldn't afford that water in that lake, now you're going to live next to a stinking former lake that dwindled in size over the years and locked in with people that may be horrible people. And the gate is a big illusion of safety because I would, based off the size of that community, I would be surprised if not thousands of non-residents have access to that area. It's just a giant illusion of safety. All right, I'm gonna switch up to, we're doing 60-pound back row. Should be all warmed up, ready to go. But people will pay top dollar for that illusion of safety. I used to do like work in a gated community, and I guarantee you the residents don't realize like how many people have access to their properties, or they just don't think about it. And especially with the way they can be rude. What's up, Copel man? Good, man. How are you doing? Or like the way they would be rude to us or disrespectful, and it's like, oh man, you think you're safe in this place? Like, you have no idea. You know, there's so many ways in. So many of us have access to the gate. You should probably be a little bit more respectful. What's going on with you, Copa? How's school going? You're good? All right, man. Well, have a good nap. Going good, I guess. I'm not sure. When he makes me tired, I bet. Especially since you have to like stare at a computer screen for so long. I think that's makes things hard. if I ever had to work in front of a computer, it would definitely be rough. Especially because then your mind is like can be a little tired, but your body is not always ready to go to sleep. I find by like a little bit jobs that have something a physical element to them as well. Just not stuck for hours in front of the screen. I think working in an office or office-like setting is gotta be incredibly tiring. When I was doing landscaping, it was the best because I could go out in the country and do work, enjoy, beautiful skies, clean air. I love that. And it wasn't a job that paid as well as other jobs, but man, that just ability to be alone in nature and work was very nice, very peaceful. Worth the pay cut. And being stuck inside is brutal. That was 8. Previous sets were 10. All right, we're gonna drop down to the 50 pound. Let's do one more set with the 60. One more set. Let's just keep this going. No, one more set. Let's see. That last set was 8-2. We'll do another set. You talked me into it, guys. Thank you. I think probably the thing that makes office work so hard for me is having done like active jobs and knowing how much better physically I feel and sleep. Like no one sleeps better than the guy that does manual labor all day. You get home and you have like the best sleep. You just conk out and it's amazing. You don't spend all night thinking about your day, thinking about problems. That'll be tomorrow. You just pass right out. It's the nicest feeling. And if you have a terribly demanding job, you don't have to work out after. You've already killed it. Your body is fit, good to go. Six. So I like those like videos that show bodybuilders competing with guys that do construction or they're laborers, and just how much more in reality that guy that works all day is than the guy that hits the gym. And just what a difference that makes. And it makes it hard, like when you know how much more you can push your body. Like when I work out here, like I work too. I'm tired. My body's physically tired, but I know that if I go inside and take a break for 10 minutes, 20 minutes, I can come back out and hit it again. I'm not really that completely exhausted. I was thinking about AI yesterday and how not everyone, but there's a good portion of people that think AI is going to solve all of our problems and could possibly bring world peace. I just don't think so. And what makes me think that is at the same time I'm thinking about AI, I'm reading an article. I can't remember if it's in Europe, Canada, or the US, but somewhere they want to start putting the cancer warnings printed on the actual cigarette itself to get people to stop smoking. And if people are so committed to smoking that all of the labels and stuff that are on the outside of the package doesn't work, well, printing it on the cigarette itself, I think that's going to make the difference. And people are just very committed to their bad habits. And I don't see how AI is going to change that. Without being a tyrant. And then if it's a tyrant, dictator, there's got to be a human actually representing that dictator, and I think that they'll probably just change things to work best for them. And it's funny is the people that advocate for hope from the AI, sometimes there are people that advocate also for we gotta get off this planet, we gotta get out into space, because eventually we're going to deplete the resources on this planet, and we're gonna have population increase, so we need to get off this planet. And it's like that's just pushing the problem down the road, because we'll just also then destroy that planet, and then the next one, and the next one. And there's got to be a point where you say, hey, maybe we just figure out how not to consume so much. Then it doesn't help when the people that tell us not to consume so much are living lives that people want to live. Flying private jets and stuff. Other people want that. And it's the people heralding AI. Sometimes it feels like they've forgotten that America's not just America, but the world has had some really great ideas on how to govern and be governed, and try to implement those ideas just to watch them be destroyed from within. I feel like sometimes government just has to make it safe enough that people won't completely destroy themselves and then just walk away. people just make dumb decisions. Like, again, skip the politics of it. I'm not arguing politics of who's right and who's wrong. But you have people in the US that are protesting Tesla, protesting Elon Musk, and their plan is to destroy Tesla cars without thinking. And they're also, blowing up the charging stations and doing things that disrupt the charging stations. Not realizing that to a consumer, to a guy that's planning on buying his next car and was thinking about getting a more green, environmentally friendly vehicle, is going to feel less inclined to do that because you're showing them how vulnerable these cars are in this situation. It was already bad enough that charging in the winter is incredibly difficult in cities in different parts of the country. But now you're showing that, like, at any point there could be a protest and someone destroy all the charging stations and you're screwed. So how many people now, not only are they people that are going to want to buy cars going to think that electric cars is a huge vulnerability, but also they think that the people that now that own Teslas that are destroyed now have to go buy new vehicles. And will they buy another Tesla? Will they buy another electric car? Or will they decide to buy a gas-powered car with less vulnerabilities? I wonder how much Ford, when they see the Teslas with Nazi written on them, how much Ford is hoping that the guys that are going after Tesla don't figure out its history and the origins of Ford. That could be uncomfortable. You have a guy who's suspected of being a Nazi versus a Ford company that was aligned with Nazis and friends with Hitler. Seems like one would be more in trouble than the other.